I've looked at some variations here. We have the old school knee ride across the hip. We can also do a more MMA version, old school, on the solar plexus, and we showed you how to turn the guy's head and put a lot of pressure on with what I call a double knee ride, where I have one on the hip and one on the head. There's also been some variations that have developed in MMA. You see them a little bit more because of the problems we talked about of creating too much space when the fighters are so slippery and so well trained and so athletic nowadays. This is a particularly good one for the street, but we're also starting to get closer and closer control, more and more completely into groundwork, but it's a good transition now. So if I begin here with my knee ride here on his hip or solar plexus, but I'm going to do it here so you can see what I'm doing more clearly. A lot of people, you know, the guys that don't really know anything about fighting, but they want to pretend they do, they're always talking about, well, he's going to attack my groin, he's going to do this to my groin, he's going to do that to my groin. Maybe. Only people who've never been in fights think that people fall down and die and do the funky chicken because somebody slapped them in the groin. But you can have problems with this arm because of that, or he's just reaching out or whatever, and I want to increase my control. So if you're worried about somebody grabbing you here, you're going to use your other knee to clean that arm off. Now, I could transition to a tighter control, but again, we're trying to think in street context here, where I'm not always wanting to just focus on this guy and put all my body weight on him. That at times can be a good idea, but it's not always necessary on the street. So once again, I've got this knee a little bit on the ground, but mostly it's his arm that's carrying the weight, and I keep this knee here, okay? So now all I have to do is worry about this arm. And this knee, depending on the surface, isn't too bad. I can come up on the ball of my foot, I can go flat and put more weight on it. I have good control of the guy here, and I can do a lot of the same chokes we do sports style. You can attack this arm with your classic attacks, for example. We'll do all this in a minute. Okay, so the idea is I don't have to stay in this old school position, which can be pretty unstable if I don't have the traditional grips to hold on to. So most of the problems you're going to have, whether it's a technical defense where he's pushing my hips away or he's just pushing and pulling on you, are generally caused by the inside arm. The other one's going to be easier to deal with, and he's actually more exposing it to attack. So one of the simplest ways, whether he's defending himself technically with his arm in, or his arm is coming up to grab my groin or something, I'm going to bring this knee in, and I'm just going to peel it off, and now I'm ready to go. All right, so if you had a jacket on, I could do the simple, you know, thrusting choke here, things like that. Otherwise, when you attack this hand, I'll show you that in a minute. So this is what we'll refer to as a low knee ride. So we have our classic here. I can do it on the hip. I can do it on the solar plexus. Okay, I can turn his head. I can double knee ride him, or I can low knee ride him here. These are good choices when you don't want to commit completely to groundwork, where you're focused on the guy, your head is down. You want to be able to look around. Now again, the advantage of a knee ride here, once again, is I have gravity, I can hit the guy, but I have close to 360-degree vision. Okay, I've got a little blind spot behind me. Okay, once you transition to the mount, for example, now I've got closer to 180-degree vision. So I can see really well in front of me. You know, I can look behind me, but the blind spot now gets bigger. Okay, and then when I transition to side control, for example, even more so, I'm kind of reduced to about this field of vision. You know, if I move around and change, then I can change that field of vision, but it takes more motion. So another way of looking at the classic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu positional control hierarchy is also about vision, something that isn't always taken into account when you're training or in the sport context, because you have only one opponent to worry about. But if you're in an arrest and control situation, you're a peace officer, you're defending yourself in an environment where there's more people around, start thinking about this hierarchy also by having the vision. So obviously this one gives me the best field of vision. Secondary, something like this. And finally, I'm really committed to here. You know, I can't see as well, I have to lift my head up to see more. You know, if I lift myself up, yeah, I can start to see more, but of course, I'm losing the advantage that the position is giving me, which is chest-to-chest contact. So keep that in mind as well. When you hit somebody, when the fight hits the ground, you're thinking about control, but you also have other tactical things to worry about. The knee ride gives you good control, good gravity, assisted attacks, and you have the best vision available. So something like this, boom, yeah, I can see the guy pretty well. I can monitor him if I'm worried about he's going to start, you know, going, maybe he's got a weapon on his hip or something. You know, you've got good access to his whole body here, and you have good vision. So don't ignore this position just because it's not used as much in sport fight. Make sure you're giving it the time it needs for self-defense.